Should I invest in a Nifty 150 Midcap index fund or an active midcap fund? That's the question we are trying to answer here. For this, we will compare the CAGR rolling returns and the SIP returns of active fund and the index fund. I had done a similar study on Nifty 50 market weighted and Nifty 50 equal weighted index fund against the large cap funds, and many of you requested that I should do something on midcap as well. Historical data of midcap funds actually present a very interesting problem, and it is important you understand this. On October 2017, SEBI actually reclassified the definition of a midcap fund to say that any fund which is to be called midcap fund should at least have 65% of its components from midcap category. Earlier, this was not the case. The fund house could call itself a midcap fund, but go ahead and invest anywhere. So it was almost like an flexi cap. Oldest midcap index fund from Motilal Oswal was started in September 2019. So friends, we have 6 years of data to do this analysis. Friends, two things to remember. We have not seen a total bear market in the last 6 years. And in this video, when I say an index fund, I'm actually referring to Motilal Oswal Midcap 150 index fund. So ready to compare the returns of 23 regular active midcap funds versus the index fund? Let's get started. Friends, it's been a real mixed bag for active midcap funds across 1, 3, 5, and 6 years. If you look at the first year, 13 out of the 23 funds managed to beat the index. Understandable, right? Markets were down. Midcap funds can have up to 35% of large cap stocks, which offer downside protection. But when we extend the time period to 3, 5, and 6 years, the story slightly changes. Only 8 out of the 23 funds actually beat the index. And only 4 of them have actually consistently beaten the index across all time periods. Friends, that's only 4 out of 23 funds consistently beating the index. Now let's see if they do better in SIP returns. Friends, for SIP comparison, the usual stuff, 1,000 rupees per month, started from 1st of September 2019 till 1st of September 2025 for a period of 6 years. We look at the portfolio value as of 1st of October 2025. See here, friends, look at the data. Only 7 funds actually managed to beat the index. 7 out of 23. And out of that, only 5 funds made meaningful difference. Even in SIP investing, the index fund actually held its ground. Let's look at rolling returns, and that is where things get even more interesting. I checked the 1-year rolling returns, which gave us 1,851 data points to compare the 23 funds versus the index fund. If you do not know what is a rolling return, I suggest you watch this particular video where I've explained that in detail. Look at the data, friends. 9 out of 23 funds actually managed to beat the index rolling returns by more than 50% of the times. If we are taking 60%, then only 5 funds managed to beat it. And not very surprising to see HDFC, Nippon India, Motilal Oswal, and Edelweisss on that list. But I was actually surprised to see that Invesco, which actually managed to beat the SIP and the CAGR returns of the index, was actually lagging in the rolling returns. And that's why it is just so important to compare all the 3 together, the CAGR, SIP returns, and the rolling returns, to judge a fund's consistency versus the index. The verdict to me is very clear, friends. Only 4 of 5 active midcap funds actually managed to beat the Nifty 150 Midcap Index Fund consistently across all time periods. Now ask yourself this question: what are the odds that you would have picked that 5 out of the 23 funds invested consistently to earn that alpha? That is for you to answer.